1 Thessalonians 5:4. But ye brethren are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief.
So who's not in darkness as that day should not overtake you as a thief? Talking about the elect of Israel, because we see it coming.
Right. Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober.
Let us not sleep as do others, as do other Israelites. You got brothers that came to the school and went on the highways and the byways and they went back into the world. So what happened to them? They went back to sleep. The scriptures speak about the congregation of the dead. They shall remain in the congregation of the dead.
We know it says, for they that...
What's the exact quote? You don't got to go to it. Just quote it exactly. So
ye that wandereth out of the way of understanding.
Ye that wandereth out of the way of understanding
shall remain in
among the congregation of the dead. That means you came into this truth and you turned your back on the truth. You went back into the world. So you fell back asleep. And you're not dead. You're still walking around, living, breathing, eating, but you don't associate yourself with being an Israelite anymore. You know? So you among the congregation of the dead. So if you come around trying to get back in, you ain't gonna make it back in. Osai put your ass to sleep. He gonna keep your ass asleep until the missiles come. So the ones of you that was a part of this, and you the ones of you that was a part of this, and you turn your back on this thing, because it says in Luke, he that turneth his back on the plow. It's not fit for the kingdom of heaven. So you got to make it. You're going to make it when the kingdom is established, and we start having babies on the other side, and you're going to be born like a newborn baby.
Right. Meaning they're not the tower of the flock.
Exactly.
The tower of the flock is the elect. The tower of the flock, they're going to make it first. Then the rest of the flock. We know it says, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober.
So that's what we're doing. We're watching. We're on the watchtower, right?
Yep.
So if you're a watcher, if you're walking up to this truth, you know these scriptures, you don't just know the scriptures and that's it. Keep it to yourself. You got the most out. You gotta speak it on the rooftop, so to speak. So when you come into this thing, you don't. I'm just a member of one of the Israelite schools. No, you got to be out on the highways and the byways. You got to do videos. You got to participate. You understand?
I have a precept.
The scriptures speak about being lukewarm. Lukewarm guys are guys that come in and they they'll come and speak when they get good and ready. They're in and out. We don't tolerate that. We'll kick you out the camp. In a minute.
Back up Pastor, the scripture where it says be fervent in the work of the Lord. When you look up that word fervent, the word there is fever. So you have like a fever for this thing about, fever to do it.
A fever pitch.
Yeah.
A fervor,
You're literally, it means you're on fire. That's it.
Jeremiah was on fire.
Yeah.
He wanted to turn, he said the Lord deceived me, but it was a fire burning inside him.
Right.
He could not go. In other words, he said, I'm not going to teach the Israelites. They full of shit.
He couldn't resist the urge.
But there's a fire in them.
Yeah. These
guys that fall off, the fire was never in them. They were faking it. Or the fire just went out. That goes back to Matthew 25. The 5 to 10 virgins, 5 were wise and 5 were foolish. So now that they see the prophecies coming to pass, they're looking for a way to get back in, but they ain't gonna get back in.
Trying to light that pilot light.
And the pilot light is out.
Light went out. That's it. You said you had something?
Yeah. Man, I just had it. Okay, this is Isaiah 21:5. It says, prepare the table, watch in the watchtower, eat, drink, Arise, ye princes, and anoint the shield. Because this is similar to a war. And we are Yahweh Bashem Yahushai's warriors. So when we out here, that's why we call it a camp. Or an encampment. An encampment is like when you set up a camp of soldiers and you against your enemy. You see, so
back then they call the prophet, the group of prophets, they call it a company.
Yeah.
Company of prophets.
Yeah, that was it.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 6. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation.
And that's also in Ephesians 6 and 10. You gotta be covered on all levels, man. In this thing. You can't turn your back, you can't go back to the world. It says you have to hate, it literally says to hate your father and mother. Which means you gotta, the order of love is love of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem outside. Your father and your mother comes down the line.
Yeah, Apostle Todd just said you can't go back in the world. That's what Yahweh Shai said about the men that are chosen to do this ministry. A quick precept. John 17 and 13. The subheading says the disciples in the world. And John 17:13. And now come I to thee, and these things I speak in the world. This is Yahweh Shai speaking. That they might have my joy fulfilled in themselves. I have given them thy word, and the world have hated them.
Yeah, they hate us. Like, for example, a great thing. They hate. That showed you that these guys against one. A great thing. It shows you that they're not true men of the Lord, because they would say, "Oh no, it sounds harsh to what you're saying, but it's true." Because none of them guys went and did the research. They just they got caught up in the emotions.